want you to tune in for a second, and then we're going to start this bad boy up. Let's get it. What is going on, guys? Happy Tuesday. Tuesday. You know what I mean? So that's about it. Cool. Hey guys, how are you? What is going on? You see Facebook, LinkedIn, really quick before I kick this off. Um, Stephanie, thank you for tuning in. Steph, what is good? So good to be able to call it awakening, but it. Cool. We're here. All right. I'm going to pause the music and we're going to talk. We're going to have a really good time. So, without further ado, let's get into today's episode in three, two, and one. Use my phone. Yes. There it is. What is going on, mother truckers? Welcome back to another episode of the Shift Your Mind and Change Your Life podcast. This is your boy, Coach Stout. Let's get it. In today's episode, I'm talking about how being fit will make you more money. And I'll say that again. Yes, it will make you more money. And I realized yesterday that I don't think I had the new podcast mic plugged in, so that's on me. But yeah, so if you feel like maybe you're swimming upstream right now, maybe you feel like you're struggling to make ends meet, because let's just zoom out here for a second and recognize that we'd all like a little bit more cash in our pockets, right? We'd like to have a little bit less financial stress. And I'm going to talk about in this episode how you could do that for yourself from fitness and taking care of your health. And I want to kick this off with saying how I just had like an awakening within the last few days about my perspective on what I'm bringing to the coaching space. And I think a lot of times, like, fitness gets a bad rep or rap, whatever you want to call it, because a lot of people are very fixated on macros, training, and all that stuff. That's really cool, right? But what if we started to shift the idea on how we look at that? What if we started to say, well, you know what? I could actually get all the things that I want in my life if I was able to what? Prioritize my health. Because here is the fact of reality and your situation. If you don't have the things that you want for yourself, there's nobody else to blame other than yourself. And I think the easiest way that we can start to take the initiative with working on ourselves is first thing in the morning. So if we sit down and we really reflect on that for a minute, and we're like, okay, well, what do I do first thing in the morning? Most of us, maybe we just grab our phones and we don't have any type of morning routine to set ourselves up for success. That's an issue, right? Because here's the thing. If you want to live an extremely incredible life, then you need to stack your wins in the morning. So the minute you get up, it's about trying to do something that is going to start your day off in a positive direction. So for me, what that looks like is my morning routine, right? The first thing I do when I wake up is I make my bed. Once I make my bed and then I do my morning routine, then I either go for a walk, do my cardio, or I go hit the gym, have a breakfast. That's what I do every single day. I have a quality morning routine. I take time for myself before I pour into other people, because that's really the core message that I want to get across in this episode here for you guys, is that you cannot take care of anyone else or anything else if you're not taking care of yourself. And that starts with how you operate in the morning, because the first thing you do is going to set the tone for the day, for your week, for your months, for your life, right? So the title of this episode, Being Fit Will Make You More Money, I believe that, because from a mindset standpoint, like a psychological aspect of fitness, the way you build confidence is by keeping the promises that you make to yourself. And I say that all the time on this podcast, but what we need to really recognize is that you are in full control of that. Nobody tells you that you have to hit snooze. Nobody tells you that you shouldn't make your bed, go for a walk, and actually choose nutrients that are going to benefit your performance in your life, right? Like, no one's telling you not to do that, right? And the thing is that maybe surface level, we want the result of losing weight and building muscle for the wrong reasons. And I think as I'm hearing myself speak, I'm going to pivot a little bit on this episode because I think so many of us are very fixated of the physical results that we get from fitness. But why don't we talk more about the mental results that we get from fitness? And that's really what I have become super passionate about is, hey, what can you get as a byproduct from doing this? That shit is powerful because for me, I haven't always been this version of myself. And that's why I'm very convicted in how I present everything that I do with my coaching, right? And what I do every single day is because this version of myself has been created. I'll say it again. This version of myself right now has been created through the process of keeping the promises that I make to myself every single day with the vision of getting the results that I want for myself. And the reason I wanted those results is because I've struggled for so much of my life and I didn't want to struggle with it anymore. So there comes a point in time where you're just like very stuck and frustrated with maybe where you're at in life and you want to change that. And what's really amazing is that you can make that change for yourself and it just stems from taking different actions every single day. And you're probably listening to that and you're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Why don't I do that? Why don't you do that? Why don't we explore that a little bit here today? And I'll give that question to you guys for you guys who are here on the live stream, regardless if you're on Instagram or Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, regardless of what platform you're here with me today, I want you to ask yourself that question, right? Like, why do you want the results that you're working on in your fitness journey? And if you're not working on your fitness journey, then maybe this podcast isn't for you. Like maybe you don't want to make more money. I don't know. But let's really unpack that here today because I think that is going to be huge for a lot of you guys. Because if we just embark on a fitness journey for the short-term pleasure of maybe losing 15 pounds for a wedding or a birthday, it's only going to carry you so far. And there's eventually going to come a time that I don't really want to do this anymore. It's not that fun. Like for myself, I'm a competitive bodybuilder. And like right now I've been like in my coach's ear, like, yo, like I really like want to get on stage because I feel like I'm not on point as I normally should be. Now it's just, I'm in my head a little bit, right? Like I'm still doing all my things, but there's like a switch that I would flip if it's like contest prep where it's like, yo, I'm fucking balls to the wall. Like, let's get this shit done. And that's something that is really a key foundation that we focus on inside of our program. So I know there's a couple of clients of mine here in the live stream as well. And you guys, I've done that with a few of you. Tyler, I don't know if you're still here, Casey, Stephanie, but I really allow, or I should say, help my clients understand why they're doing the things that they're doing for themselves. Like, okay, I want to lose the weight, tone up, build muscle. Why? Where's that coming from? Because I got lost there for a second earlier. We need to get to the root cause of why you're doing that. And if you could identify a very clear why and make sure that it's in alignment with you as a person, then you'll be able to actually stick to it. Because you ever notice how so many people start their fitness journey and fall off track? They just, I hear it all the time. I can't stay on track. I fell off this weekend. I just can't lose the weight. I can't keep it off because we're coming at it from the wrong perspective. We're only thinking about the physical results. But what about all the mental clarity that you get? What about how you're a much more energetic version of yourself, how you're a happier person? Why don't we focus more about that? And back to the title of the episode, how it's going to make you more money. That's probably why you clicked on the episode, right? So let's break that down, how it's going to make you more money. Because think of it this way. If you actually kept those promises that you make to yourself, right? I'm going to get up 6 a.m. I'm going to make my bed. I'm going to go for a walk, eat these clean meals, hit the gym. You're telling me that if you did that for weeks, months, and years, and you stayed consistent, that you wouldn't be a completely different person. And that version of yourself could be much more elevated. That would bring a different level of success to your life. You're going to tell me that wouldn't happen as a byproduct? I know from personal experience that it does. I'm living proof of that. And it's not to come on here and say, hey, I'm better than you. It's to highlight and shed some light on the fact that why aren't you operating the same way? And I think that's where coaching and mentorship gets very interesting, because you start to feel that connection with the coach, with the mentor of like, they've done that too. Why can't I? And you start to question yourself a little bit. If they've done it, why can't I do it? Another thing that just came to mind for me, and I don't have any notes today. I'm just sharing like what's coming from the heart here today in this episode. So I hope you're getting something from this. Um, but there's so many people on the planet that have exactly what you want right now. So let's break down why they have what you want and you don't. Chances are you don't have what you want because maybe you're not integral. Maybe you're not disciplined, right? Maybe you're wavering on your commitments. Maybe you say that, I want to lose weight and tone up, but the minute it gets hard, I'm going to pull back. I'm going to throw in the towel. I'm not going to do the things that I need to do because it's just kind of hard, right? But I'll tell you this, what's more challenging than doing the right thing in your fitness journey is staying the exact fucking same. I'll let that one sink in for a second, right? Do you continuously want to experience the pain of not fitting in your clothes, struggling to go out, struggling to have confidence in your abilities, right? Like maybe you second guess yourself at your job, excuse me. And I think that's something that doesn't get talked about enough in the fitness space is the mental results that we get as a byproduct of really staying on our shit. Because I would bet my ass that you would have more confidence in your sales pitch at your job, in your relationship, if you were on point with all the things that you said you were going to do throughout the week. I think a lot of people struggle with stress, anxiety, depression, overwhelm, all these things because all the things we could control, we choose not to. Every single time it gets hard, we choose not to. Every single time adversity strikes, we just waver and we go the other way. But what if you pushed right through that and you said, you know what? I got to step my shit up because we changed the way that we view it. And if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Man, that's a fucking good one. That's not my line, but I'll take it. Makes sense so far? Stephanie's getting some value. I love it. Anyone else over there on Facebook, if you are getting value, let me know. Drop some fire. TikTok, drop some fire. If you guys are getting something from this. And I want to repeat that, and then we'll wrap this guy up here today, okay? Oh, wrong one. I got to make sure it's on the podcast microphone because I did that yesterday and don't want to have that happen again. I have to manually click it each time I do that. That's interesting that it does that. Okay. So I'll say that one again. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Such a good phrase there. So that's the thing. There's no coincidence that you're frustrated, you're struggling, that you're not getting the results that you want because you're coming at it from the wrong perspective. You're saying, all I want to do is drop the 10, 15 pounds. All I want to do is look good in a bikini, right? But how do you expect to actually stay consistent long-term if you're not cemented in a deep reason why that you want to achieve that? So let me give you an example because maybe you're listening to this right now and you're like, I don't really know what that looks like for me, Sal. And it's okay, right? Like it's okay to not understand what that is right now. And it's okay for that to evolve. I think those are two huge things here, right? Like it's okay to not understand what that looks like. And two, it's okay for that to evolve over time. Because I struggled with that for a very long time. Like I wanted a certain result in my fitness training, but I thought once I got that result, I didn't know what it was going to look like after that. And that could be daunting. So I think what's helped me a lot on that is just looking at it one day at a time. Instead of, think of it this way. If you were to go for a hike on a huge mountain, if you look at the entire mountain, how am I going to get to the top? It would be super overwhelming, right? But if you just started with one foot in front of the other, you just focused on taking the next best step and you executed that to the best of your ability, then that's going to allow you to eventually get to the top of the mountain. And it's something that I'd really like to cement myself in with my business, with my relationships, with my career, like all the things I'm currently working on right now is approaching it from that mentality of like, okay, I'm going to build a house. Let's make that analogy as well, right? Like if you wanted to build a really good house, it needs to start with a good foundation. And then what you're going to be focused on is laying each brick as best as you possibly can. And what is that going to do over time? It's going to create a very stable house because you have a good foundation. And that's the thing. It's like, if you really want to be successful in your fitness training, I think that's how you need to look at it. I think that's how you need to perceive it and recognize, let me feature the benefits of what I'm going to get from eating clean, from doing my cardio, getting good sleep, busting my ass in the gym. Because if you're only busting your ass in your fitness journey to get the physical result, eventually you're going to burn out. I know that from personal experience. Again, change the way you look at these things. and the things you are starting to look at will change. Such a powerful, powerful statement there that I think you guys can get a ton of value from. And like I said, back to the title, this will make you more money, because for every single person that's listening to this message, chances are you have a job, maybe you have a partner, you have friends, family, all of the things that you want to achieve in our lives. I'd venture to say that if you're listening to this right now, there's something that you want to achieve that you currently don't have. And then the question becomes, well, why don't I have it? Back to what I said earlier. If you don't have it, it's nobody's fault other than your own. You have to take the responsibility and initiative to say, you know what? I need to switch things up here. And then if you just take an honest look and you start to reverse engineer it, it's not really a hard process. Guys, like losing weight, eat less food, move more. Very simple game. Building muscle, eat the proper amount of food, have the proper amount of volume. Get good sleep, water, nutrients, all those things. It's pretty straightforward, right? If I want to make more money, you could make the argument, well, I need to work more hours. I would challenge you on that, and I would say develop your skill sets, right? Like read more books, listen to more podcasts, like hire a coach, hire a mentor. Maybe you don't have the means to hire a coach and mentor. One of the biggest things that I've done over the last few years, YouTube. You can find a lot of shit on YouTube. So maybe if you don't have the money for a coach or a mentor, start with YouTube. Search things. Get out there. Like, you don't know unless you try. I played baseball my whole life. If you don't swing the bat, you can't get a hit, right? So I'll leave you guys with that. Hope you got some value from this episode. Remember that being fit is the path to making more money, to living in a more abundant lifestyle. I genuinely believe that. And if you'd like to challenge me on that, I'm more than happy to battle you in the comments, because I've seen personally how much of a drastic improvement it's made in my life and for clients that I've worked with. And I think if we could start to shift our perspective on how we're viewing it, it's going to not only allow you to enjoy the process more, get better results, but then also make more money and have your whole life elevate. And I think we all can get behind that, because we want to achieve the most out of our lives. And I venture to say, like, if you're listening to this, that's what you want. So peace, love, and protein. We'll see you guys in the next episode. I hope you have the best day of your entire lives. If you want to do me a huge shout out, please leave us a review on the podcast. We really appreciate it, so we can keep giving you some crazy value. Talk soon. Peace. Okay, I'm out of here, Vladimir. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you got some value. If you did, let me know. I'm out. Dom, be good, brother. Just finishing up this live potty right here. But I hope you guys have the best day ever. That was a banger episode. For anyone who has not heard the recordings, you can head over to Apple Podcasts and type in the Shift Your Mind, Change Your Life podcast with Coach Sal. I upload a few times per week, and that's where you can find all these. I'm also on Spotify as well. It's totally free. Most of the episodes are like 10, 15 minutes, and there's a ton of things that I do in there.